Hallo miteinander, I'm Geshidi6, and this is Labyrinth of Touhou. The series this game started has a significant presence on my channel. I doubt any of you have not heard of it. With a 2009 release date, it is quite the soggy grandpa among doujin games, yet it's one of the most influential Touhou fan games, hands down. So why are we starting it up again 12 years later? Well, this should answer that question. How is it that a beautiful field of flowers is adorning the main Gensokian hub? It is because of the Labyrinth of Touhou Special Deluxe mod, also known as the Color mod, made by Dawn Bomb. Yes, the average player might not know that Labyrinth of Touhou has a few mods. Another popular one is the Labyrinth of Touhou Rebirth hack by Ethan Silver. This file is still very young. Only a few girls have been recruited. We're not even at a full party of 12 yet. The most striking difference the color mod brings are the new custom backgrounds, but that's not where it stops. Once in the dungeon, it is revealed that the graphical overhaul lies within every facet. The pathways are brand new, and so is the 8-bit retro-style party avatar of Remu. We should be getting to a battle soon. There we go. And hello, enemies have a new appearance too. Not completely new, but redesigned. These tapirs are Berolofs, who were originally like tall, robed skeletons. They're a little infamous for being the first foes with inappropriately high defense. You must use a mage like Marissa to get anywhere with them at this point. It's quite the shocker for a new player that an RPG would throw such an untypical opponent at you as early as the second floor. But that's what Labyrinth of Touhou is known for, an RPG for the experienced. Such a game always has a draw for the prideful. You know how it is, the "I've beaten the winner, get good you scrubs" mentality. The color mod tries to combat this a little, but not as you might think. It is not an easy mode, and it doesn't mess with the numbers. Instead, it adds a couple of changes that make the game a little more accessible. There's additional labeling on character pictures, for example. Sakuya's has buff written on her, informing new players that she can be used to strengthen others. If you look at this group of shadow cats, they also have a chart under them, telling you that mystic attacks aren't very effective, but that ailments are almost sure to stick. Such information isn't easy to come by, as unlike Labyrinth of Touhou 2, you don't have a bestiary at Canis school, nor can you tell elemental effectiveness from the color of the damage numbers. We just found a triple speed dugong, the literally worst item of the game. You get plus 10% evasion from it, in a game where the ability to ever evade has been cut from the programming code. It is so bad that we don't even honor it by putting it in an empty slot. This Hirami lemon, on the other hand, is worth it, a decent item for the early game. It goes well with Chen and her usually only mediocre nature resistance. The second floor of the strange space is to be imagined as an ice cave. The new custom battle background makes that very obvious. The color mod has done this kind of paint job for all 20 floors of the base game. They usually look nicer, I find. Labyrinth of Touhou doesn't set the bar too high for graphical improvement. Don't get me wrong, for a 2009 Dojin game that puts gameplay first, it has always looked serviceable. Still, it could have been better. Dawnbomb thought the same, and that's how we got to today's video. It's a good reason to dust off this cult classic, I'd say. So that second floor we're on, it is known for being split into two parts. To access the other half, you must find and defeat a mini-boss. With that mini-boss pummeled and conscripted, you can also recruit another member, Minoriko. So, getting to that encounter has a high priority. That is why we are venturing to the lower right corner of the map. There waits the adorable, tomboyish Cyrno. Cyrno, the fearless warrior of Odin, distinguished by her majestic beard. Yes, look again, that is Cyrno. The colors, the motifs, it is our ice fairy as a masculine Norseman. Just so you don't misunderstand, custom character portraits are not exclusive to the color mod. Modifying those has been around for far longer. It's done by exchanging the contents of the so-called Paragraph folder. I'm not sure it was possible before Special Disc arrived. Once this was figured out though, fan-made portrait packs started cropping up fast. The reason for this was simple. As much as everyone loves Labyrinth of Touhou, one aspect of it that has been criticized to no end is the default character artwork. Oh boy, do people rip into it. At least thanks to this badness can we have something like Viking Cyrno. She just quick froze us, so the girls are trying to hide under each other's skirts for warmth. It's sexy, but not of any use. We still lose TP, a resource that is painfully limited in Labyrinth of Touhou's early game. Sakuya especially is just about to leave. So, come to think of it, if you count the custom paragraph as another sort of modding, then Labyrinth of Touhou has to be the Touhou fan game that players tinker with the most. Sometimes that can be a bad sign, as in the fans fixing the game for the dev. Touhou 16.5 Violet Detector comes to mind. Yet in our case here, any modding is a labor of love. Before any characters leave completely, let's switch in those that had little to do. Chen, for example. The removal of evasion may have hit her the hardest, nonetheless I've always found her viable. I usually don't care much for her design-wise, she is the obligatory cat girl, and the Japanese need their cat girls. However, when I saw that portrait we're using, I was a bit smitten. It's by Spooked Moose and simply called Chen_Adult. It's pretty bold to have her all grown up and with long flowing hair. I've already had it applied in a playthrough before this one and I do not want to part. If you want to draw her all cutesy and little instead, more power to you, just keep that shit away from me. The further you stray from the second floor's relay point, the more likely you'll run into the more dangerous encounters. Speak of the devil, this is one of them, as it has one of the more notable enemies present, a bronze sorceress, second from the right. They will be faster than most of your team up to this point, meaning some damage is guaranteed. The color mod has redesigned them into this stereotypical Hansel and Gretel witch with a crooked nose. Originally, they were women ambiguous in age, plain looking, but overall well kept. This is a situation where the color mod is not easier on your eyes. Not out of inability, but because Dawnbomb for some reason deliberately chose not to. maybe the new look is meant to match their murderous personality. Apart from this mod being more beginner-friendly, discovering the new graphics might also make it more attractive for seasoned players. If it's your 10th or something playthrough, and another New Game Plus run with a fixed roster just isn't tantalizing enough on its own, the color mod might just be the extra push you need. If you're that compulsive, you'd still have my respect. I've played through Labyrinth of Touhou at least 4 times myself. However, I've only tackled the post-game and plus disc once. The issue is that the Deep End's floors and encounters can at best be an ordeal and at worst infuriating. Labyrinth of Touhou 2 would handle its endgame much better. I personally love the Infinity Corridor, it's so adventurous. Yikes! Here's the #1 nastiest random encounter of the 2nd floor. 4 bronze sorceresses make casualties almost a certainty. In the case of the easily chilled Chen, it's extra bad, she just gets one-shotted. There is no shame in running when it turns out as catastrophic as this. Luckily, Patchouli is about to get her turn, and I am confident that she can blow everyone to smithereens. There we go. Unfortunately, downed members don't come back in Labyrinth of Touhou 1, regardless of TP. It's best if we abort our expedition here. It's too bad we only found one of Cirno's events. But facing her had never been the purpose of this video. It had all been about revisiting this game, a game that is important and dear to me, and to also find out that fans are still modifying it. Surprisingly, Dawn Bomb has thrown out the cameo of the level-up goddess Agasa Kaguya for the ruler of Angel Land, Palutena. Most people nowadays will only know her from Smash Brothers. She was amusingly spunky in Kid Icarus Uprising. That game succeeded in giving her a fun personality. It's too bad I didn't like too much else about it, or I might have actually endured finishing it. We invested level up bonuses for several characters into speed. When in doubt, I always find that wise. It does make a huge difference for random encounters when you go before your enemies. With what I've shown you until now, I think it's been a suitable demonstration of the color mod. It's pretty neat, with a lot of small but positive changes. I wouldn't say it's as ambitious and game-changing as the Labyrinth of Touhou Rebirth hack. I had mentioned that one early in the video. It adds several custom boss fights as well as brand new recruits. Yet that is totally fine. It's not a competition. Not every mod has to raise the bar from a previous one. Try both of them if you get the chance. With that, I'm Yashili6, this was Labyrinth of Touhou and its special deluxe mod. Now excuse me while I go and beat that pesky Cirno so hard, she'll be dining in the halls of Valhalla. Bis bald!